Hello, Shep Hyken. Welcome to the DoingCXRight show.
All right. Well, first of all, I think we did this introduction the wrong way, and I'm excited to be on this show. But today, it's not your show; it's my show, Doing CX Right, where Shep Hyken gets to interview the famous, the amazing Stacy Sherman about everything she's been doing. This is your 100th episode, and I know we talked about this, but we're flipping it around. Instead of you interviewing me, and by the way, if you want, go back to the very first episode and listen to all the answers to the amazing questions I gave. What is customer service to me? How did I get started? Blah, blah, blah. Great questions, but this is all about you. 100 episodes. Congratulations, Stacy.
Thank you so much. And you inspired me to get here. I just want that to be known.
Well, did I scare you or inspire you? I just
inspired. Absolutely inspired me, for sure.
Well, let's start off with the fun question and get rolling here. And I've made some notes here, so I may actually put on my glasses to try to read this writing here. But you asked me a question on the first episode, like, what's a fun fact about me that most people don't know? I love the answer I gave you. It's one of my favorite answers to give because a lot of people don't know that one little fun fact about me. So if you want to find out what it is, go back to the first episode. But I want to know a fun fact about you that most people don't know about.
Yes. So I would say that the word is backgammon. I traveled as a kid playing in backgammon tournaments in Europe, and I was the youngest player in the room. And I am a champion backgammon player. My board has a lot of dust now because I haven't played much. I can't find people to play with. But it's a fun fact that people don't know that I was a traveling champion backgammon player.
You were a hustler, is what you were. It sounds like, did you con these people out of money? No, I'm just kidding.
I was really good back in the day, and I came from a family of games players. They were playing blackjack in Las Vegas, and they were options traders on the floor. And I mean, it just was in my blood to play games, but they're the mathematicians. I'm more the word person.
I remember years and years ago, I used to play backgammon back when I was like a teenager, maybe in my early 20s, the health club that I went to. The old guys played gin rummy. The young guys all played backgammon. Okay. And I met this gentleman who was considered a true world champion backgammon player. And what amazed me is I thought I was pretty good. I could never beat him in a game. And I didn't realize it was like a whole nother level of strategy and understanding how to move. And it's like chess.
Yes.
You can know the moves, but to be able to really play the game. So anyway, congratulations on that. Fun fact, something we didn't know. All right, 100 episodes. What inspired you in the very beginning to decide, I want to do a podcast?
So I had been a guest on 50 plus shows, and I thank you. You had me twice, so I feel very privileged. And so being a guest, I thought, you know what? I always am the guest of the party. Let me be the host of the party. And so I said, let me give this a try. I don't know if anyone will ever listen, but let me have some fun. And boy, did I have fun starting with you. So thank you a billion times. Thank you.
So I know, is there, well, you're very, very welcome. So I appreciate it. You don't need to thank me, but what's your reason for doing the podcast?
Well, at first, I wasn't really sure, other than wanting and loving to connect with people. And as I was doing it, and I had started with a blog, and from that, again, didn't know if anyone would ever read it. They read it. They kept coming back. They kept asking for more. And so that's when I started the podcast path. And it just kept me going while I was working in corporate for 25 plus straight years without a break until this year is my break. And so it was like outside my work world day, I would enjoy at night and weekends doing this, talking to people, connecting and sharing, because I knew I don't know everything. So that's what kept me going.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, everybody who does podcasts, they have their reasons. Many of them are for the exposure that we get to
Mm,
people that might hire us, and I think you and I are kind of in the same, kind of an alignment with the number one reason that I do this podcast, not this is your
mhm.
podcast, but my own podcast that you've been on twice, is I get to hang out for 20, 25 minutes asking questions and learning from some pretty crazy, amazing people. And I just love that. And I am smarter because of every week that I do one of these shows. And I think you feel the same way, it sounds like.
Absolutely. I'm smarter. And here's the other thing I believe from the podcast, and that is by giving our time and spreading the education, happens to be about customer experience and leadership and such. But we become such an influencer, but in a authentic way. And you can't buy that,
I
right?
think people get to know your personality, no doubt about it. And I think that's it. And here's the other cool thing about what you do. Um, I do the same thing, and I admire somebody that stays in their lane. You've stayed in
Mm,
the lane of what you're good at. You're all into CX. You're not talking to people about sales or HR. Maybe some ancillary topics come up as a result of that, but you're primarily, if you're going from, you live in New Jersey, is that right?
mhm, yes.
Yeah, if you're going, I don't know what the highway is between New Jersey and New York, okay, but if you're on that highway, you're not pulling off and going on side streets. You're nonstop on the highway, and I think that's important because people get to know who you are and what you're about. The first year I did
Mhm.
my podcast, it was a general business show. I don't know if you know this or not, but CBS actually hired me to be part of their launch of their podcast, and so I had an incredibly huge audience working with CBS. And at the end of the year, I realized they're asking me like around tax season to talk to accountants about, like how can we save money in taxes? Around the Super Bowl, talk to somebody in security about how we make the fans safe. Well, that had nothing to do with customer service and experience. It was a lot of fun. I even interviewed a really cool musician who was very, very famous. But be that as it may, at the end of the year, I said to the folks at CBS, I just want to stay in my lane. And you know what they said to me? Good luck. See you later. If you don't want to do the general show,
Uh,
we don't have, and my audience went from, I don't know, tens of thousands of listeners to maybe 800 to 1,000 a week. And
mm.
so, and guess what? Looking back, best move I made. It's not the size of the audience that counts. It's the quality of that audience. I think you're experiencing the same thing. Am I right?
Absolutely. And I need people to hear that. Play this again because there's such quality and value to a niche. And even when advertisers are looking at shows to sponsor and partner with, if you want Joe Rogan, go there. But like if you're looking for reaching those people, those business decisions who care about what you do, then the niche shows are so incredible. There's so much value. And I think that there's a perception. In fact, there's a movie I loved. I don't know if you saw on HBO called Fake Famous. It's so
Yeah.
good.
Was that the social media where all they showed all these people like glamming it up and trying to create these
Yes.
fake backgrounds to make themselves look like they're major
Yes.
influencers? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I keep preaching, don't be fake famous. It's not worth it. It's not gratifying. It's not fake anything doesn't work for the long
Yeah.
haul.
Yeah, that's so true, so true. So you have talked to, aside from myself, 99 other, or if this is the 100th episode, then it would be 98 other experts. Do you feel that you not only learn, but do they help shape your opinion? Do they help change your opinion? Do they change your perceptions? Give me some background on how you feel after having a great episode.
Oh, that's a great question. So I'm going to call out one guy who, in particular, of all my shows, had a fun debate with me. Really fun. And that was Colin Shaw.
I know Colin over in England. Yep.
Uh-huh. And we had such a fun debate about, is CX the new marketing? Is marketing CX? And we just went head to head in such a fun way. We did it on his show and we did it on my show. And it was just a great debate. And I think some of the shows that there is the friendly debate stand out a lot.
So I just want to know, is it the new marketing? It's really not new anymore. Is it marketing? I remember years ago, I wrote the article, CX is the new marketing. But do you feel it is marketing or not marketing?
You'll have to
What was
listen
your
to that
position?
show. You'll have to listen to the show. Wouldn't you
Tease me
say
a
that?
little bit.
Wouldn't you say that to somebody else?
No, I wanted you to so,
Yeah.
but we don't tell me why you think it is, but tell
Okay.
me what the position is. And
Okay.
then to understand the why, listen to
Yeah.
the show.
Yes. My position is that CX is the new marketing.
Mm,
And marketing is clearly a component early on in that customer journey of awareness and interest. But I think that it's a mistake for CX to report into marketing. I think that in general, I think there has to be really close synergy. Forget about the org charts. That's not as important as they have to collaborate, they have to work closer together than they do in many organizations.
yeah. I mean, the best way to look at it is CX belongs in the same room with marketing and perhaps run by one person who sees both sides. Just as somebody that might run sales has to recognize there's direct sales, there's digital sales through a website. It all falls under the umbrella of sales. So I believe you're right. I'm going to agree with you here. CX is marketing. And not only that, marketing is about awareness, but if we create the right experience, like Bonnie Raitt wrote a song that I use as my walk-on music. Let's give them something to talk about.
Yeah.
Walk-on music when I do the speech, because that's what we're really trying to do is create the experience that our customers talk about in a positive way, by the way, because we can create an experience they talk about that's not so positive. But
Yes.
I'm assuming it's positive. That makes other people want the same. It also makes your existing customer want more of the same. It's all marketing. All right. So let's jump back into your whole podcasting experience. And for the people that, yeah, by the way, true story. About 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, I'm at a conference. As a matter of fact, you and I went to CCW, which is Contact Center Week or Customer Center Week, which is the largest trade show conference in the contact center world. Just before I went there, I'm at this event and I meet this really nice couple. And the woman, the wife of this guy who was there at the conference, we're talking. And I always like to find out, oh, are you enjoying the conference? You don't even do what we do here. And she says, yes, I'm meeting great people. And she goes, you have a podcast. Yeah. And how do you do that? I've always thought that I'd like to do a podcast. She's a resilience expert, is the best way to describe it. She teaches people how to overcome adversity and be resilient to tough things in their life. I said, that is a great topic. So you're doing this podcast. What have you learned about podcasting for those that are thinking, I'd like to do a podcast? Tell us your
Oh,
experience.
I love this question because I have such an emotional answer to this,
Like,
which
what did you
is
want to know when you started that you now know? Kind of a question.
yes. Well, the emotional trigger that I feel as you ask this is this microphone. Starting with that, I was like, what microphone should I start with? I was so worried about the technology that it stopped me not only from starting the podcast sooner, but also I had this microphone and some other things that sat in a box for weeks and weeks. I couldn't even take it out of the box because I was scared. So, step one is take it out of the box. Step one. And really believe in yourself, bet on yourself, and recognize what's the worst that happens. There's not a big catastrophe here.
Yeah, yeah, it's not like this is gonna ruin your life. If only 3 people listen to your podcast and it's not a good podcast, those
Yeah.
3 people, they're probably your parents and your brother, your sister, your kid, whatever, but so don't worry about it.
Ye-
But no, I like that. So it's like Nike, just do it, and,
it-
no excuses. Uh, First, "Oh, I need the right technology." Do you know how many times people use excuses like that to procrastinate the beginning of anything? Oh, if I only had my new website. I'm working on that. Well, it's like,
Yes.
gosh, I'd love to lose weight. I forgot to go to the gym today. Oh, that's 3 years now I've been forgetting to go to the gym. You know, just stop using excuses and just do it, for crying out loud.
Take it out of the box.
Yeah, take it out of the box. What a great metaphor. You should write an article about that. And if you don't, I just might do it myself. So,
I'm
um,
gonna do it, and I'm gonna quote our conversation.
okay, great. So 100 episodes, which is just about 2 years. Let's look at the next 2 years. What do you
Yeah.
think you're gonna do for the next 100 episodes? Is there gonna be a change? You're just gonna keep going? What should we plan on Stacy doing over the
Mm.
next, year or 2?
So I don't have all the answers. I'm on a journey. However, I do know one thing for sure. The first 100, I did a lot of learning. I made mistakes and I learned from them. And they were all teachable moments. And there were a lot of storytelling. The next 100 are going to go deeper, not wider. They're going to go deeper into literally how this is doing CX right. How do you do CX right at a deeper level? So that's where I want to go instead of wide, go really into the detail.
So the 4-lane highway is turning into a 2-lane
Yes.
road, and you're gonna stay on that road for a while. I like that, and I think people are gonna benefit from you sticking to that niche, because here's why. I believe that if people are interested in what you talk about and you stay in that lane, they're gonna stay with you until you stop talking about it. So,
Mm.
if you veer off, be careful. So, it's
I
okay to
want
stop at the gas station and get a little refill on the way.
to.
Just don't like say, "Oh, that's a cute little town over there. It's only 15 miles out of the way. Let's go over there." No, it's
Yeah.
bad news. Can't do it.
Yes. Well, so it just had a light bulb go off again, and it has to do with boxes. I, for all these years, have lived in a box. I've lived in a corporate box.
Mm.
I've had my lane, and you are not to cross it when you're in the corporate world. And so now, 2023, here I am making a big shift, and I'm out of corporate now. And who knows if that's going to be forever or not. But today, right now, and this year, I'm out of the corporate box. And so that's what limited me when I did my show, because I had to really respect there's a fine line when you're working for a brand. But now Stacy Sherman brand is out of the box. The microphone's out of the box. So hear me roar.
There you go. And the beautiful thing, I hear what you're saying. You're gonna stay in the lane of customer experience, but
Mhm.
by being out of the
Yes.
box, you get to be, as a solo entrepreneur, maybe with some support, but
Mhm.
primarily a solo entrepreneur, you get to do everything in your company. You are now the finance department, the marketing
Yes.
department, the sales department, the podcasting, content development department, whatever it is. Every single function in any business is now falling on your shoulders as an individual. And good luck. At some point in time, you're going to realize you need a little more support so that you can free yourself up to
Yes.
keep doing the great things that you're doing. And that's because you're going to be so busy and successful that you're going to need that help. That's
Mm.
my dream for you.
Oh, thank you. And I want to just say one other thing, credit to my mom. And my mom was my 50th show.
Oh,
And
wow.
she said to me, she taught me a lot of things, but she said to me, if you don't ask, the answer's always no.
Hmm.
And I learned that even in podcasting, because after you and the first 10 I had on the show and their forward, I used to say to myself, I wonder if they're going to say yes to me. I'm going to invite them to my show. Well, I don't know if they're going to agree. And I said, my mom would say, if you don't ask, you don't get. And so when I got people, even Daniel Pink, who's quite
Yeah.
a
Big deal.
reputable
Daniel Pink's
author,
the dude. Yeah. He's the
he
man.
so when he said yes, and there's so many others, Bob Berg and Bill Price and all these wonderful, wonderful people, when they started to say yes to me, I was like, I'm on a roll here. Like, I do have something going on. And so I tell people, if you don't ask, the answer's no. And kudos to my mom, Eileen Brenner.
Well, your mom was right. You don't ask, you don't get, but the answer will always be no because you never gave somebody a chance to say yes. By the way, expect you're going to get no's and deal with it. It's just going to happen.
Mm,
People are going to say no. They don't have the time. They don't know who you are. Maybe it's not something that is of interest. It's okay. All right, we're running out of time. There is a question
yes,
that you ask everybody, and I'm going to ask you. And I've written it
yes.
down here, and that is what advice would you give your younger 20-year-old self if you could go back in time? I'm
I would
glad you
say
didn't ask
take.
me that question today because I don't know what answer I'd give you. I'm
I
asking
would
you.
say, yeah, well, I feel confident to say to take more chances, to take more risks. I was probably the youngest person you'll ever meet who crossed the street by themselves. Or I should say I was the oldest person,
Oh,
not the
the oldest
youngest. I
person.
was the
Well,
oldest
okay.
person to cross the street by myself. I needed to have both hands on that railing to go forward. And it took me many, many, many years to let go of the railing and to get comfortable and take chances. And so now, this second half of my life, second season, I'm going on a ton more roller coasters. I am saying yes to things I would never have said yes to before. So that's what I would tell myself is just take more chances and it's okay to fall. Like just get
Yeah.
back up.
And you learn. And by the way, every time you fall, it's a great learning experience. And when something doesn't work, you've always got to ask the question, why didn't it work? And what's the worst thing that happened as a result of it not working? And if it did work, what's the best thing? Should I try to do it another way, a different way? So I applaud you for being a little bit vulnerable. And I think that's part of crossing the street by yourself is opening yourself up to
Yeah.
vulnerability, willing to take a little risk and it's so love it. All right, Stacy, I would say thanks for being on my show, but uh, thanks for being on your own show. You did a great job.
Oh, thank you. I'm so grateful.
So I'm going to
This,
turn now. I'm going to turn it back to you to close us out as you would any of your other podcasts,
yes.
and cue it up for next week when you have your 101st episode.
Yes. So thank you, Shep, for being with me today. Thank you for saying yes to my first show. Thank you for even getting me to my first show with the confidence you've given me. And there's a reason that you are loved so worldwide. There's a reason for it, and it's for your generosity and time and love, just like
Well,
this. So
thank you, thank you.
thank you. And on everyone will find Shep's information on in the show notes. So I will share more of you. And thank you.
Well, thank you.